What we're going to talk about today is the process we go through to make this kind of a building. We have a model railroad layout up in Vista, California, and the layout depicts the railroad that ran from Sacramento over Donner Pass up to Reno. And along the way there were a lot of buildings and something, and we're trying to model them as they looked back in the 1980 time frame. So we'd use a lot of sources. So the process we go through a process of selecting the things we want to do. And in our case, we're going to want to do the passes that we use up at Donner Pass. So we have the town of Colfax, and we're doing a passenger station. And then we're also doing Main Street. So we're going to show you a little bit of the process that we go through up there to make these buildings. So the first thing we'll be doing today is the selections are made. After we make a selection of something we want to do, we have to find out what it is. So we do a lot of research. We go on the internet, we use Google, and Google gives us some pictures. And for example, we'll take the town that we did, and we used actual photographs. You want me to clip it?
Hold that mic for you.
Oh, okay. These are actual pictures we took of the town that we're going to model. So we had a person go in, take pictures of all the buildings. From the pictures then, we go in and figure out what size they are, because we want to end up something that is in the size that we have on our train layout. So we dimension them. We use all sorts of angles and everything to try and dimension them. Once we get them dimensioned, then we go in and we enter into a computer, into a program. So now we've done our research, now we programs to the scale that we're making them. For example, that's a very big scale, and we want to end up with a scale that's this size. So we go through a conversion process. We convert it to a CAD program that has a format called AutoCAD.dwg. So it's a very specific drawing, because that's the only drawing our laser knows. So now we have a computer program that talks to our laser. Once that's done, we can control the laser so it burns these pieces we want. So that's the whole process. Then we go back and assemble. So I'll take you through how I did South Main Street. I was given the project, so the first thing, I had a building. It was called Martin's. And I saw right away it had a very different front. It all went back, and I didn't know how to build it. So what I did, I made just cut it out of cardboard, so I saw how it might look. Once I saw how it might look, I converted it to a drawing. And with that drawing, I burned these parts on a laser. I assembled it, and it worked. So when it worked, I said, this isn't the right scale, so I'll convert it down to the right scale. That's what it comes out. Come on. That's the actual size of the building, and that's the front part. I went ahead and did the same thing for all of the other buildings. So these are all of the front parts of the buildings in the scale I want that are in the computer that I burned on the laser. And that's the whole process. When you want to come up and see what it looks like in real life, come on up and I'll show you YouTube. So as the train comes into town, South Main, that's those buildings all painted and decorated on the layout to the same thing. So now we've recreated this way a real-life miniature replica of something we saw. And it's a challenge because we'll have people come in to our place up in Vista. They'll look and they'll say, I saw that. Biggest compliment a model maker can get. Wonderful. They actually visualized what you saw and say, that's almost real. So that was the first challenge I tried. The second challenge was a little bit more. There's the passenger depot up in the same town, which is this little building down here. But this is what it looked like back in 1900. That's what it looked like in 1998. So we had to recreate that building. You hold that for a minute. Graceful, very graceful. Does that look something like it?
Oh, yeah.
So that's what we did, and I'll show you how we did that one. So that is, you can see the underside, all the parts, the back. And
what kind of material is this?
that's wood. And there's the rafters, and there's the floorboards. And the whole thing sits together just like that. And so here's how we built that one. Whoop, whoop. Long reach, James. Long reach, James.
Okay.
We went in, they remodeled this in 2000, so we didn't want it, but this showed us how they built parts of it. That's how the backside looked back in before they rebuilt it. So that showed me what the dormer looked like. This part over there, which I'll show you. We converted that to a three-dimensional program called Google Sketchup, and we took that and spun it around all sorts of ways because then we could see what it looked like. Then we printed out another picture from the internet to get an idea. You can see my line of the angle. So we got these little dormers right.
A little bit for the camera.
Now we have the columns, and what we had to do, we had to find a way to put the columns together so they would fit under that rafter. All right. So we took all the dimensions from the Google and converted them to a drawing and created this piece, just this piece. And it's made out of a material called laser board. And laser board is that. That's just like laser board. It's a board of fiber that's impregnated with plastic. So instead of being fiber and bending and breaking, like this is mat board like they use in prints, not very good. That is now elastic, not just, it won't break. So it's got more strength. Well, it will if you bend it far enough. Thank you, James. So that's how we build that part up. And so we built this in this frame. And when we cut the sides and everything, we cut the sides out of a mat board because they sit up and down. When they're up and down, the weight is on the fiber this way, and fiberboard is good in compression. So that's what you're trying to do. So these, what you have to do when you're through with them is paint them before you assemble. So we scribe all the lines so they look like they're wood. That drawing up there, you see the yellow part and the blue? That part there is this part. The yellow part are the floorboards. The blue parts are the lines that mark the outline of the top. The purplish lines are the lines that mark where the slots, yes. And then the final line around the outside they call cayenne is the final burn. The computer knows when it looks at the color of a drawing, it burns only that layer first, and we give it the properties. We tell it how much power, how fast it's going to go, and how many dots it hits. we'd make all the materials stay the same no matter what thickness. The laser stays the same height. So then when we give it these rules, everyone burns the same. So we burned that. This is plywood. So we burned that at a certain speed. I burned it a little too hot. Plywood has glue. It hit a pot of glue and it went pop. So I now got a smoked floor.